One day, a child was born in a small village. The child was very beautiful, with black eyes. However, his mother was not happy with his birth because she thought that the child was the reason her husband died, who was actually the father of the child. In fact, the child's father was outside the village on a hunting tour when a group who were with him encountered a terrifying person with black eyes and a sword. This person always killed anyone who stood in his way. That night, the killer murdered the hunters, including the child's father. The killer was a good man and one of the villagers. However, the people of the village hated him and once tried to poison him. The poison did not affect him, but it turned him from an ordinary person into a killer who killed anyone who wanted to harm him. Since then, he lived in the forest and emerged from time to time to kill more people. No one could stop him because his strength was unimaginable, and no one could see him when he attacked someone due to his speed. But the baby will change everything. Years passed, and the child grew up and became a swordsman. He trained every day until he could avenge his father's death and prove to his mother, who had left him, that he was capable of killing the person who murdered his father. One day, while he was training, a lightning strike hit him, and he was unconscious for 2 weeks. When he woke up, the people of the village were shocked because the color of his eyes had changed from black to blue, like the color of the sky. He had a supernatural ability, which was to control lightning and wind, and his speed had increased, making him more powerful. Although it was initially difficult to control his strength, he eventually got used to it and mastered it well. One night, the young man went for a walk, feeling sad because he missed his mother, and sometimes he felt that what his mother had said about him was true. Suddenly, he saw a person standing far from him, watching him. The stranger's face was black because of the darkness. The young man asked the stranger who he was and why he was standing alone, but with a strange laugh, fear struck the young man's heart. The stranger's laugh was unusual, as if he was not a human being. The person was the killer of the young man's father. The killer had the appearance of a normal human being, but his strength was like the power of Satan. The young man asked the murderer, "Who are you?" But the killer's response was unexpected. The young man realized that the killer was responsible for killing his father, and he drew his sword, ready to avenge his father's death. But the killer just laughed and said, "You are not worthy to face me yet. You may have grown up and become strong, but you still have a long way to go." With those words, the killer disappeared into the darkness. The young man was filled with rage and frustration. He had trained for years to become a skilled swordsman, but he was not yet strong enough to defeat the killer. He knew that he had to become even stronger if he wanted to avenge his father's death. The next day, the young man went to visit a wise old man who lived in the mountains. The old man was known for his knowledge of martial arts and his ability to train skilled warriors. The young man asked the old man to train him and make him even stronger. The old man agreed, and the young man began his training. For months, the young man trained every day with the old man. He learned new techniques and skills, and he practiced them until he had mastered them. He also learned how to control his supernatural abilities, using his lightning and wind powers to enhance his sword fighting. Eventually, the young man felt ready to face the killer again. He returned to the village and began searching for him. He asked around and found out that the killer had been attacking nearby villages and leaving a trail of destruction behind him. The young man tracked the killer down to a remote mountain cave. He drew his sword and entered the cave, ready for the final showdown. The killer was waiting for him, and the two began to fight. The young man used all of his training and skills to battle the killer. He used his lightning and wind powers to enhance his attacks and dodge the killer's blows. The battle was intense, and it seemed like neither of them would win. Finally, after a long and grueling fight, the young man landed the final blow and defeated the killer. The killer fell to the ground, defeated and dying. Before he died, he revealed that he had been cursed by the village and turned into a killer. He begged the young man to end the curse and bring peace to the village. The young man fulfilled the killer's dying wish and returned to the village. He told the villagers what had happened and helped them lift the curse. The village became a peaceful place, and the young man was hailed as a hero. Finally, the young man was able to avenge his father's death and prove his worth as a swordsman. He had become a powerful warrior, but he also learned that true strength comes from within, and that revenge is not always the answer.